Wow, all present accounted for. Welcome. I'll just wait a second. Somebody else is coming in. Welcome to the regular Town Council meeting, Town of Cave Creek, Arizona, Monday, October 1st, 2018. Roll call, please.
Councilman McGuire.
Present.
Councilwoman Wright.
Here.
Councilwoman Elrod.
Here.
Vice Mayor Silva.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilwoman Clancy. Here. Mayor Bunch.
Here, all
Here.
present. I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't have it on. And I don't know
Oh,
how
you
important that is.
you double heared.
I did.
I thought
Okay.
you were abstaining.
All right. Let's see. Who am I going to pick on? Mr. Besora, would you do it again? I'm sure the dog can't start us off. So.
If the dog can, I prefer to do that.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Public announcements. Well, everybody be careful tonight and tomorrow. They say we're going to get some rain, but it looks to me like it's going west of us like it did last time, but I could be wrong. Anybody else got anything? All right.
Oh, I did attend the opening this morning of the Tourist Bureau, so they're open and they're ready for business.
Oh, cool. People can come here and spend money and go home.
You bet.
Yeah.
What are the hours?
10 to 2, I think. Carrie, do you know the hours of the tourist office? Is it 10 to 2? I know.
Days?
10 to 4, I'm going to give a report on that under the manager's report. I have quite a detailed report.
All right. Let's see. Call to the public.
Bruce McNeil.
Bruce McNeil, 5932 East Carriage Drive, Cave Creek, Arizona, resident since 1995. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, thank you for having the call to public tonight. I'm here to present to the incumbents, and if there's any new members coming in to Council, that we have a pollution problem in the town. It has to do with paint fumes and paint overspray. It has to do with people's health, mine, my neighbors, and our town in general. And it's on the screen right now, a video taken from the cell phone from the front door of my home, Friday, approximately 5:15 p.m. If we could cut the lights, certainly we can have a more interesting view of the volume of overspray and fumes coming out of that, what looks like a swamp cooler, which is not. It's a swamp cooler box sitting on top of a vent stack. May I shut lights, or maybe Town Marshal, Mr. Stein? It might get a little dark in here. And this is a regular occurrence. They have switched their paints from a type of paint that was being claimed as being malodorous to the extent of, gee, where is there the dead body? But take a look. This is being pumped into our neighborhood daily, and it seems like Fridays and Saturdays sometimes are the day. I'm looking at that. That looks to me like there's no paint, there's no air scrubber being used. This is cell phone footage. The house on the left of the red colored structure is newly completed. How does that guy sell that house when he discloses what's on this tape or on this video? Health hazard, I believe there's town ordinances against this. I'm having lesions removed from my face now. I'm tired of coughing. I was trying to sell my house. I don't want to live downwind of that anymore. And I would like to say thank you in advance for the town taking care of it. If I get really, really sick somehow, that was good. I like that all the way dark. I'm going to retire on the town. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we're not allowed to ask questions.
Yeah.
But for the record, did Mr. McNeil
No.
identify
Point
the
of order,
property?
we're not allowed to do that.
That's why I brought it up.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah, well, we know which one it is. Yeah. Are there more call the public forums? That's it? Okay. Council requests for future agenda items. All right. Town manager report.
Last Saturday was a homecoming parade. It was well attended, and there were no incidents. The Taste of Cave Creek is coming up October 17th and 18th, and we're still in need of some volunteers. They can contact Marshall Adam Stein if they're interested. We could use volunteers the day before on the 16th for setup, and the evenings of the 17th and 18th during the event. The building department received its large format scanner today. It's the first step for the town to allow for electronic plan review to take place in the future, which can allow for streamlined review times. Once the initial installation is complete, large format plans will be able to be scanned, allowing for a reduction in the required storage space for retention of documents, which are required by state statute regulations. The water treatment plant has initiated reduced hours of operation since this is now beginning the sort of off-peak season. Instead of 22 hours of staffing daily, the daily water production will be completed in 12 to 18 hours. The optimization of the plant production will continue until late April 2019. The new plant winter schedule provides 8 to 10 hours of additional preventive maintenance daily, as operator schedules provide for 2 personnel on site for a portion of each day. 1 operator is assigned to the plant duties. The second operator focuses on prioritized maintenance activities. Normal treatment production will commence at 4 a.m. daily and conclude about 9 p.m. Remote monitoring of the reservoirs and the pump stations is crucial. It provides immediate status of water levels and critical alarms for all plant personnel during non-production hours. So those on call will have access to any alarms or any information through remote monitoring. And then just a reminder, on our Town of Cave Creek website, www.cavecreek.org, under Services, then you scroll to Finance, are all the links in the virtual library. You can find the updated financial information for the town. The monthly reports of revenues and expenditures are updated to August 2018. The check registers are updated through September 2018, and the budget documents, of course, are there for the entire fiscal year 2018. And then last but not least, today was the soft opening of the Tourism Bureau. It's located across the street from Town Hall, 37617 North Cave Creek Road. It's right next to Oregano's. Nina Spitzer is the volunteer coordinator who has been instrumental in assisting get this office up and running. Up on the screen is a photo of all the volunteers so far that have agreed to be on the schedule to staff the Bureau. And these are some photos of the inside of the office. As you come in the door, there's a credenza there kind of to the left, and then to the right, that those were created and donated to the Town Tourism Bureau by Fernando Maldonado, is that his last name? There are some pieces, this one in particular in the front, some pieces donated by the town dump, and there are a couple of pieces from Kiwanis that were donated. There's artwork from Lance Headley and others that are on the wall. It really is welcoming, and they're very excited to get going. The office will be staffed by the volunteers, as I said. The office hours are 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. during the prime season, so that's what they're going with right now. The official grand opening is coming up this Saturday, October 6th, so they're encouraging everyone to stop by and check it out. We also, the town marshal, assisted in working with Channel 12, who came out and did a tourism commercial about the town of Cave Creek. We've received, that started to show on Channel 12 this week. We've already received great feedback on that. We will have a copy of that commercial featured on a loop feed on a computer in the office at the Tourism Bureau within the next 3 days. We just have to get the computer hooked up. We also have a link we've created on the front page of the town's website that is a link to the cavecreektourismbureau.org. So that'll be linked to our website. It's under construction, and there's also currently a link for the merchants to they fill out to participate. So this is for the merchants to kind of bring their materials in and share their activities and events and information about their businesses. And we have a Facebook page reserved for the Tourism Bureau as well. And with that, concludes my report, Mayor.
Well, that's really good. Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go right ahead.
What you just told us about with regards to the commercial, would that be linked into our website as well?
Yes, that will be.
So if you went to Town Hall website?
Yeah, we just have a Dropbox link to it now, and so once we get the computer there, we'll get a link there and to the Tourism Bureau.
Good.
But we wanted to kind of feature that as people come in and can see that. It's short. It's like 15, 20 seconds, so it loops pretty quickly, yeah. And then when does the show, do we know when the show is going to air on channel? The 9th, October 9th? Okay, and what's it called again?
Channel 15.
A to Z Midday. So they actually are featuring the town of Cave
And
Creek
the channel
on Channel 12.
12.
Mhm.
I think Councilman Elrod would like.
Yes.
Yes.
Is there good signage from the road
We're-
to?
Yes, Councilwoman Elrod, that's correct. There will be a sign, should be up in the next day or so, on the building and at the road. And then are we putting up for the weekends, try to put up the board? Are we going to try and do the board? The message board as well? Kind of bring attention to it?
And will that be, if we do the trolley again, will that be one of the stops on the trolley?
That would be one of the stops. We have to rearrange some of the foliage. There's a couple of trees there, right, that trolley probably couldn't get around.
Well, the trolley can do that.
But we haven't heard that the trolley wants to participate this year, so we're looking into a couple of other things.
Thank you.
Moving right along to the consent agenda. There's one item tonight, approval of the September 4th, 2018 regular council meeting minutes. We have a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, sound like all of us. General agenda item number 1, council discussion, possible approval of first reading of ordinance number 2018-02, amending the Town of Cave Creek Subdivision Code, Section 2.3, entitled Preliminary Plat. And I believe this is the one that I have a note on.
Item number 1 and 2 are what the attorney had requested be
Right.
continued to the October 15th meeting.
Yeah, and I have a note here from the attorney. The agenda item tonight needs to be continued to address an issue that came up late last week. Need to address this issue in the ordinances, and we'll bring it back at the October 15th meeting because the change will be substantive in nature. We need to make the changes before doing a first reading. So can we get them? Can we actually do both of them at the same time, or we got to do them separately? I always forget that.
I would do them separately.
Okay. All right. Can we get a motion to reschedule agenda item number 1 to the October 15th regular council meeting?
Move to reschedule,
Second.
wait, I didn't finish, the October 15th meeting.
Second stands.
All right. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes clearly have it. Moving on to agenda item number 2, where we have the same set of circumstances.
Move to take agenda item number 2 and move it to the October 15th meeting.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes clearly have it. Moving on to agenda item number 3, which we're actually going to deal with tonight. Let's see here. 3. Council discussion, possible approval of Resolution R 2018-19, a resolution declaring as a public record Section 30.07, oath of office, Section 30.21, vice mayor, Section 30.35, meetings, Section 30.38, agenda, Section 35.01, ballots, election procedures, voting districts, and Section 32.23, sample ballots and publicity pamphlets, arguments, and placed on the agenda by the town attorney. However, the town manager is going to present for us.
Mayor, members of council, the next item is actually the first reading of an ordinance that would adopt this, but because it's so lengthy, the process in state statutes is to first have a resolution to declare the information a public record and then adopt by reference. So that is what the ordinance does. So attached to the resolution is actually the Exhibit A, which contains the amendment to the town code so that the town is in compliance. Primarily, this came forward with issues that it did not it wasn't in conformance with the new state laws pertaining to elections. But then, as the attorney went through this and was in contact with staff, there were a few other things that needed to be updated. But then we also, I can tell you for sure, Section 30.35 had a section there, written request of 4 members of the town council, which would violate the open meeting law. But in Section 30.35B, special meetings, during the amendment to take it down from 4 to 3, so that 3 members, so it would comply with state law, there's 3 words that were left out that are critical. So we're asking that you approve the resolution with the amendment in Section 30.35B, special meetings. It should read, the mayor, comma, or the clerk upon the written request of 3 members of the town council, comma, may convene the town council at any time. So they left out the or the clerk, and the 4 should be reduced to 3 members so that you're not in violation of open meeting law. Other than that, I think everything else relates to bringing it into compliance with state law. So we're recommending that the resolution be adopted with that amendment.
I'll make a motion.
Questions from council? We got to go further.
Okay.
You're raring to go, but can't go for raring. Questions from council? Okay. Gee, we don't have any public comment on this one. We do on the next one, though, which is the same thing. All right, now go ahead and make your motion.
Motion to approve Resolution R 2018-19, a resolution of the mayor and town council of the town of Cave Creek, Maricopa County, Arizona, declaring as a public record certain documents filed with the town clerk and entitled Section 30.07, Oath of Office, and Section 30.21, Vice Mayor, and Section 30.35, Meetings, and Section 30.38, Agenda, and Section 35.01, Ballots, Election Procedures, Voting Districts, and Section 35.23, Sample Ballots and Publicity Pamphlets, Arguments.
Do we have, all right.
With the amendment? Can I ask
with the
with the amendment in 30.35? B, special meetings.
With the amendment in 30.35, special meetings.
All right, you had the motion, Vice Mayor? Comments?
Self-explanatory.
Councilman McGuire?
Yeah, pink underwear and green bologna don't appeal very much to me. I'm talking about what happens if you go to jail. This is the Arpaio.
Okay.
Back in the day.
Anyone else, council? All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes clearly have it. Moving on to agenda item number 4. Council discussion approval of first reading of ordinance number 2018-05, amending the Town of Cave Creek Code, Section 30.07, oath of office, Section 30.21, vice mayor, Section 30.35, meetings, Section 30.38, agenda, Section 35.01, ballots, election procedures, voting districts, and Section 35.23, sample ballots and publicity pamphlets, arguments, and declared to be a public record by the resolution number R 2018-19. And I think there's a typo in here. It's where it says section 3035. It should be 30.35 in what I just read. So when we get down to it, it's right actually in the motion. All right. Same thing. We've just discussed it. So I guess, council, any questions at this point in time? Seeing and hearing none, there is public comment on this agenda item. We have no speakers. We're back to council for a motion. Somebody feel like reading along?
Motion to give first reading to ordinance number 02018-05, an ordinance of the mayor and the council of the Town of Cave Creek, Arizona, adopting and making part of the Cave Creek Town Code that certain documents entitled Section 30.07, Oath of Office, and Section 32.1, Vice Mayor, and Section 30.35, Meetings, and Section 30.38, Agenda, and Section 35.01, Ballots, Election Procedure, Voting Districts, and Section 35.23, Sample Ballots and Publicity Pamphlets, Arguments, declared to be a public record by Resolution R 2018-19.
Second.
All right. Councilman Clancy, comment?
For the same reasons, if they're out of date, and this gives them, brings up to where we need to be, and if anybody had looked at the changes, they would know they were necessary. So glad they've come to our attention.
Vice Mayor?
No questions, no comments.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Well, let's move to a vote then. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes clearly have it, 7-0. Thank you, council. Moving on to agenda item number 5, council discussion and possible approval of engineering services to perform a wastewater collection system evaluation placed on the agenda by Utility Director. Mr. Kaler, I assume you want to tell us all about this. And you're shooting a green laser all over the ceiling when you're walking up there.
Let's see. Mayor, council members, we spoke about the wastewater evaluation 2 or 3 times during the past 5 or 6 months at budget time, and then again during the quarterly update. And I'm here to basically explain what our role is and what we hope to accomplish by doing this study, and hopefully at the end get approval to implement the study or turn an engineer loose. For those of you who aren't aware, the wastewater lift station, the town has 3 wastewater lift stations. 2 of them are fairly small, and I apologize, let me scroll up here. 2 of them run about 42 gallons a minute. One runs at 70, but the biggest lift station is the Rancho Manana lift station, which is located at the site of the old Town of Cave Creek wastewater plant. For a long time, not that long because I haven't been there that long, but I was corrected last week. The current lift station that takes 90% of the flow from Rancho Manana down to the water reclamation facility off the Carefree Highway was the existing influent pump station for the old treatment plant. You're nodding, so I guess that my source was correct. I thought it was the effluent pump station, but it was the influent pump station. So right now, we have a large section of collection activities that happen in the town that wind up going to that lift station and then ultimately get transported by a force main, an 8-inch force main, down the underneath the roads and out to Cave Creek Highway to the treatment plant. All the wastewater is collected by gravity sewers, and I talked about the 3 wastewater lift stations. 2 of them are fairly small, but Rancho Manana is the largest. And the influent pump station again was part of the original treatment plant. When the treatment plant was built, the new treatment plant in 2008, put online, the larger pumps were added to that influent pump or to the Rancho Manana pump station, but capacity was not. So basically, they took out the old pumps, influent pumps, put in larger pumps to pump the water from Rancho Manana lift station out to the treatment plant. So the wet well is about 4,000 gallons. When that system is running at peak hours, there's 2 pumps in there and they cycle back and forth. They cycle about every 6 to 7 minutes during peak hours. So, and we've watched that for 2 or 3 months. So that indicates to me that during peak hours we've got almost capacity coming in there. So the concern obviously is, and there's a picture of the lift station. You can't really, the majority of the lift station is underneath. That's just the concrete lid. There's a Bilco door there, the metal door. But there's a larger 4,000 gallon capacity concrete structure underneath there. So the question is, why do we need to study? We need to study to assure capacity for future growth, basically in the town's commercial core and also residential growth. The scope of work was developed so that there's a lot of, this town is not like a lot of towns, there's a lot of sewers that have been put in the town that are not connected. They're dry sewers. So if that ever happens, we want to know, well, if all these people who have sewers in their area suddenly decide they want to hook up, and the town wants that to happen, then what would be the capacity at that lift station? Because the majority of those flows would wind up going to that lift station. And then also to evaluate the current lift station configuration. How are the pumps staged? Are they variable speed? Is there a more cost-effective way to make that work on a day-to-day basis to move the water from Rancho Manana out to the treatment plant? And then how much additional flows would it take to put that lift station in a position or a capacity situation where we'd have to be looking at adding. The only way we could functionally increase the capacity now would be to add larger pumps, which is not really the way to do it. The way to do it, if the study comes out that indicates that we need a larger lift station, it will be to increase the capacity of the well from 4,000 to 8,000 or 10,000, so that we're able to hold more and even out those peak hours. The other part of the scope is to evaluate the 8-inch force main, which is adequate today. In the 2013 wastewater master plan, there's a lot of statements that says there's plenty of capacity in the 8-inch pipeline from here to there. Well, there might be plenty of capacity today, but if we increase the wet well to 10,000 or 12,000, and we're pumping, we need to make sure that line has enough capacity to get the wastewater where it needs to go. We requested. We put a scope of services together, and I believe that's part of your package. And we sent it out on the street, and two firms responded. Wilson Engineers was one firm, and they provided a cost proposal of $47,760, and EPS Group, provided a proposal of $26,500. EPS is Woody Hayes, who's done other work for us in the past 6 months since I've been here. And so what we'd like to have the council approve is the contract for $26,500 with EPS Group to complete the scope of services for an engineering study to evaluate the town of Cave Creek wastewater collection system. Not just the Rancho Mañana lift station, but the residential and commercial core, the core of the commercial downtown areas, and what future hookups would do to the existing lift station so that the lift station would be good for 10 to 15, 20 years. Questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor.
Mr. Kaler, two questions.
Yes.
Just so I make sure I understand this, the current wastewater treatment facility plant can accommodate 0.71 MGD.
That's correct.
And if all three of these lift stations were operating at full capacity,
That's correct.
it would be at 0.81 or 0.10 MGD greater than we have the capacity for. So my first question is, approximately where are we today in terms of the three lift stations as far as MGD? I mean, are we under? I assume we're under the 0.71.
Mayor and council member, that's correct. And I knew that question would come up, but I wanted you to understand what the capacity was at the plant versus what the lift station capacity would assume. Full flow is 1,440 minutes a day to get that capacity of 0.81, which obviously is not the way that it would normally operate. The only way that would happen is if you had a catastrophic flood event and that thing were to flood, and then it would pump for 24 hours at its full capacity, which is not it's not the way it's designed to work. So the pump capacity exceeds the treatment plant capacity, but that's on our side that's good, because when it pumps, it moves all that water that's in the force main, moves all the wastewater, so that we don't have stagnation in the lines. So the pumps move it rapidly rather than at a slower flow. But we're far below the treatment plant capacity is about 0.37.
So there's no imminent danger?
None whatsoever, no.
Okay, my second question is, if the study of 26.5 is approved by the council tonight and they move forward, and there's recommendations in there that'll obviously cost money, since we're not at a critical point, I'm going to assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's not in our current fiscal year budget that it would have to be added to the next fiscal year budget?
Yes, Mayor, Councilman, that's correct. We budgeted for the study with the understanding that whatever the outcome of the study would drive a capital improvement project and some kind of a CIP schedule, engineering study. The study is going to probably take 90 days to 120 at the outside. So if we get rolling on it, we'll have some pretty good numbers by the time we finalize the budget.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Councilman McGuire?
I see here financial implications go up to $70,000.
If that's on there, that's not correct.
That was what was budgeted for this.
Oh, that's what was budgeted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see. That's a line item.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Should have clarified that.
I do have a question.
Councilman Smith?
What are the subdivisions that have the dry sewers that would be feed into the Rancho Mañana?
I don't have that detail, but I can tell you that what the water master plan, it's in the water master plan, I just don't have all the details. There's a significant amount of subdivisions that were sewered and they're currently dry. The 2013 master plan states that there's almost 50 to 60% of dry sewers versus what is currently connected, which is a lot. It's not normal to have that much dry sewer. And some of those, and I've been told there is probably a significant portion of those that, because of the configuration of the collection system today, would not ever be, it wouldn't be likely that they ever would be connected. I think it had to do with different topography at the time when they were put in.
Yeah, I was just wondering, since I live in one of those subdivisions, but it is within just a little over a quarter of a mile from the plant itself, and I would think it certainly would not be
sewage from there being pumped up to Rancho Mañana.
That's correct. Yeah, it would be, you probably you're not connected. You're on
Dry sewer.
dry sewer.
Septic system.
You have septic?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
We're
that, no.
forced into that.
Yeah. No, where you live, there would be no way that it would be pumped all the way back up this way.
Okay.
Yeah, if it
Thank
were
you.
ever sewered, it would gravity flow back into the sewer.
Thank you.
Councilman Clancy?
Mine's more of a comment. This goes back to when we were in our debates and stuff, that council was going to look at and have these types of things done before expenditures were done, although we have planned for certain things, but nothing would be spent until this type of work was done, so that we knew what we were doing before we did it. So I appreciate very much you bringing it forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Silva.
Thanks to Councilman Smith, I have another question that has arisen. Would I be correct in assuming when these, quote, dry sewers, sanitary sewers were put in, they were done at the cost and expense of the builder/developer and not of the town in any way, shape, manner, or
I
form?
don't have that history, but the town manager is nodding.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, that's correct. It was
Okay.
part of the developer's expense.
Thank you. That's good to know.
There is, oh, did you have something?
No, thank you.
I saw you touch your microphone.
Oh, I did. So, yeah.
There is public comment on this. We have nobody who wishes to talk about a lift station. Okay, we're back to council for a motion, please.
I'd like to make the motion, please.
All right, Councilman Wright.
Motion to approve the contract with EPS Group Incorporated for the amount of $26,500 to complete the scope of service for an engineering study to evaluate the town of Cave Creek wastewater collection system.
Second.
Councilman Wright.
This is very impressive and outstanding, and I think thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Another yeoman's presentation by Mr. Kaler. Thank you, sir.
Aged, you should say aged.
Any other comments by council?
I'll make one comment. This is something that's been waiting to be done for a number of years, and I'm glad that it's finally being considered.
And I actually had a question I forgot to ask you. We are injecting bioxide at that site.
That is correct.
Will increased capacity in that that we're looking forward to require replacement or upgrades of that bioxide treatment system?
The only upgrade would be the sizing of the tank. Okay. Bioxide is liquid. It's a chemical feed pump, so it would be a larger tank or a more frequent reorder point.
Okay.
Nothing significant.
Okay. All right. This is a financial item, so the roll, please.
Councilman McGuire.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wright.
Yes.
Councilwoman Elrod.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clancy. Yes. Mayor Bunch.
Yes.
Yes, by 7-0, motion passes. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.